a few things on my screen. My screen looks a little bit different from yours because I have Windows 8, but I need to take you in and show you a few things that we're going to be doing. First of all, there's at least 3 people in each class that needs to go in and set their default settings. For A Day, I know for a fact Brian, Ethan, and Tamia. And then B Day, Hayden, Joseph, and Nora. And I know that because of what I graded. There may be a few more of you out there. So watch the screen. If you have not changed your default settings, this is what you do. When you're in Word, see this little paragraph box? I want to click on the little corner, which is going to open up a dialog box. Right here where it says spacing, you need to arrow until this says 0 before, 0 after, and single line spacing. Once you've done that, you hit set as default, and then on this you want it on all your documents. You may have done this before and just clicked on this document only, but I need it on all your documents, and then say OK. And what that does is now when I type, I'm just in single space mode, and that's going to be very important in the next couple of assignments because I have to take off points if things are double spaced and they're supposed to be single spaced. So let's talk about today's assignment. Ms. Dudley is going to give you a copy of, this is a master copy, so please don't write on this. This is called Our American Presidents. And I want to point out, in the invitation, you were supposed to have centered it in the middle of the page. And I did finally, towards the end of my grading, a student wrote me a note saying, we did it this way because. So I'll go in and I'll readjust the grades on that. I think most of you got 95. I'll change it back to 100. But in the future, understand that your finished work is not necessarily going to look just like the master copy. For instance, this one has its margins in, and by the time we get done, your margin's going to be over here closer to the page border. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is put our name in the header. And guys, when you save this one, you can either save it as Our American Presidents or the Lincoln Letter. As long as you can find it in your file, you're okay. Unless your instructions tell you otherwise, it's a size 12. In this one, it's going to change it a few times to 18, to 14. If it doesn't tell you what size, then we use a size 12. All right, our first one is our title. It says we're going to center it, bold it, and make it 18 points. We learned center in our last lesson. It's right here in the paragraph blocks. So we hit the center. We need to change it to a size 18. And we need to bold it. Make sure if it's got an initial cap that you have an initial cap, okay? Sometimes the autocorrect will kick in and correct words, but you need to be checking that as well. I'm just going to hit enter a few times. And now you see my cursor is in the middle of the page. I want it back over here. So to do that, I go back to the paragraph square and ask for left align. All right. Abraham Lincoln, bold, left align, 14 point. We've already got our bold on. We need to change this to size 14, and we are left align. Born in 1809. They don't tell you, well, it does. Bold, so no bold's 14, so I'll take the bold off. Born. To get the colon, I hit the shift key and the semicolon key. Anytime I use the shift key, I'm using the symbol on the top of the key. All right? And then space, 1809, press enter. Died, 1865. Don't worry about the picture yet. We're going to do that in a few minutes. Hit enter a few more times, and it doesn't really matter how many as long as all this stuff fits on one page. Okay? All right, now it says italics, size 12, and word wrap. Italics is right here. In the font box, you hit the crooked I, that's your italics, and then size 12. Now, what is word wrap? Word wrap is an automatic setting. So when you're typing, it automatically returns to the next line without you having to hit the enter key. And if you hit the enter key, what's going to happen is just like in the invitation assignment, Word's going to make that first letter capital. So you just want to keep typing. Don't worry about if it looks like the paper because it's not going to end up looking like the paper, okay? I'm just going to throw some random letters up here. See how it's going all the way across, even where my picture is going to be? That's okay. I'm not hitting enter. I'm just typing some letters, okay? When you don't hit the enter key, you let the computer do it itself. That's called word wrap. So let's say I'm done. Now I want to insert my picture of Mr. Lincoln. Now, the computers at school sometimes have a problem with clip art. If it does, then you can just go online and find a picture and save it just like you did for your fairy tales. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say insert picture. Oops, I don't want it from my picture file. I want it from clip art. Let's do online pictures. You can either type Abe Lincoln or Abraham Lincoln. If you got your picture from online, then you would be inserting it from your picture file, okay? And you can choose any one you want. Let's grab this little guy here. I'm just going to double click, or I can click and say insert. Now see how big he is? This little box right here, I want to click on that, and I want to click on the one that says square. When I square it, now I've got it where I want, and I can resize him, and I can move him over. Now see how my words and things move when I do that? My paragraph has moved over. It's not going to look exactly like the master copy, but it's okay because this is not the master copy. You can choose whichever picture of Lincoln that you want. That makes it yours. Now I'm going to space down till I get below the picture. And then it tells me margins, top margin 0.5, right margin 0.5, left margin 0.5, and bottom margin 0.5. The way I set my margins, I go to page layout, and right here where it says margins, they've actually already got one that says 0.5. Later we're going to learn how to set our own, but today we're just going to click on the one that says 0.5 all the way around. Okay? Now notice when I did that, it put some words over here behind Mr. Lincoln. I can either move him over or make him bigger, whatever I need to do to get all the words on this side of Mr. Lincoln. All right. Now, the next paragraph is indented, no italics, size 12. So I go back to my home tab, take my italics off. To indent, I hit the tab key one time, and it goes a preset 5 spaces, okay? So I'm typing my paragraph. I want you to pay attention. There are the Civil War, the United States, the Union, Mr. Lincoln, all of those words should be capitalized. You should have an initial cap, and that is something I look for when I grade. So let's make sure that you are capitalizing where you need to capitalize and not where you don't need to, because that is something that we're going to check later. So let's say our paragraph is done. I'm going to hit enter a few times. Now this next section is in a box. Don't worry about the box until you finish typing, okay? The title is bold. We're going to use the tab key to align the columns. You'll see how it has the dates on one side and you've got the messages on the other. We use the tab key to get this straight line here, and I'm going to show you how that works. We have a little tool up here that shows the hide markers. These little markers tell me every time that I've hit the enter key. This tells me how many times I've hit the tab key, and the little dots show me every time I've hit the space bar, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure my title is bold, and I'm going to type highlights of Lincoln's presidency. Press the enter key once. I'm going to take the bold off. I've got a little sentence here that I type. Yada, 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 yada. Here we go. Too early in the morning to do the real thing. Okay, now I type my date, and I'm going to hit the tab key. And then I'm going to type Civil War begins. And again, notice you've got capital letters for certain words in this. Enter. Notice how the first time I hit the tab key 3 times. The second time I only had to hit the tab key twice. Third time 3 times. If I've got a longer one, maybe I only have to hit the tab key once or twice. The point is, I want all my information to be in a straight line here. So I hit the tab key however many times I need to make that work. So let's say we're done. Okay, I had to hit the enter, didn't I? All right, let me correct this. There we go. Let's say I'm done. I need to do 2 different boxes. I need to put a paragraph box around this, so I'm going to highlight this. And if you remember, let me move my picture out of the way. On the Design tab, we're going to go to Page Borders. For a paragraph, I want the first box. A few of you made this mistake on your invitation. For the paragraph border, I want the first box, and I'm just going to put a simple box around this, okay? I also need a page border, and I'm going to let you do something a little bit different with the page border. When I go to page border, I want to come down to custom, and I can choose a color, or I can come down here under art and choose a design. The only problem with this, you want to make sure you're not choosing something that's going to cover your name or your words, because some of the borders will, okay? When you're done, you're going to save it as either our American presidents or Lincoln. You're going to save it and you're going to print it. So I say File, Print. I want you to notice you have a print preview here. With this, if I can see all your words, then the border that you've used is okay. I don't care if this piece of the border I can't see, but I need to be able to see your name in the header, and I need to be able to see all these words, all right? Once again, it's not going to look exactly like the master, but you're going to save it, you're going to upload it to Google Docs, and then if you owe me any work in Everfi or owe me any other work, you do that first. If you don't, you're going to go into your typing drills. Thanks. I'm going to stop sharing now. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.